Here is my question of the day. Who are your people? You know, the ones who finish your sentences, the ones who know your quirks and the way you like your coffee, the ones who make you belly laugh, who love your kids as much as they love their own, the ones who you can pick up with right where you left off, even when it's been weeks or maybe months since you last talked. They could be friends, they could be coworkers, they could be family members. They're the ones who keep you honest and who lift you up when you need it the most. The ones who actually make you a better person. Who are your people? In Exodus chapters 17 and 18, we're reminded that even Moses had his people. If you'll remember back to earlier chapters, we see several instances where Moses tries to say, God, who am I that you would ever send me to lead these people out of slavery? Moses tries something like 5 times to get out of it, but God says, no, you're the right guy for the job. So we've walked with Moses thus far through lots of challenges he faces with Pharaoh, who tries to use his arrogance, his power, and his gods against the Israelites. Moses thinks he's like a broken record to say, hey, this is what's going to happen, Pharaoh, if you don't let my people go. We hear that Pharaoh's heart is hardened. There's destruction and more destruction. And even after everything that the Israelites face in slavery, nearly dying, then we hear their complaints against Moses and against God. And you have to believe that Moses had moments that aren't even recorded where he questioned what he was doing. God, why me? And that is why chapters 17 and 18 are so important. In 17, we read about another attack on the Israelites. The Amalekites, they attack the people, and God is faithful, but it doesn't come without challenges for Moses. So Moses, he sends Joshua into battle, and he goes up to the top of this hill with both Aaron and Hur. Now pause for a moment to point out, this is the first time we're introduced to Joshua and Hur. As I was reading this, again, I found myself going back a few chapters to see, did I miss where they were introduced earlier? But you're not wrong in noticing that both names are just kind of thrown in there. Both are leaders, and we end up hearing a lot more about Joshua later in the Bible. So anyway, Joshua, he's the one who's battling. And whenever Moses raises his hands, Israel prevails in this battle. But when his hands are lowered, the Amalekites prevail. And you can see the dilemma here. It's hard work to keep your hands up, to keep leading over and over in the midst of so many obstacles. So in a beautiful moment, Aaron and Hur give Moses a place to sit, and they actually hold his hands up for him. His hands are steady, the Bible tells us. And then the Israelites win the battle under Joshua's leadership. Later in chapter 18, we hear about an encounter with Jethro. Now, he's Moses' father-in-law, and he hasn't seen his extended family. Moses hasn't seen them for a long time, so this is somewhat of a reunion. So Moses, he's catching his father-in-law up on everything that's happened. And they're settled now at the mountain of God, which we'll hear more about in the next chapter. And with settling comes its own challenges. It means people are kind of comfortable with each other. Arguments break out. Rules need to be enforced. And Moses, the Bible tells us, sits as a judge for the people. When the people have some sort of dispute, they naturally look to Moses, their leader, to look to God to settle it. Day and night, it's the same thing. So wisely and pretty boldly, we hear Jethro say to Moses in verses 17 and 18, "What you are doing is not good. You and these people who come with you will only wear yourselves out. The work is too heavy for you, and you can't handle it alone." So Jethro doesn't just say that. He helps Moses work up a different strategy. He reminds him that he can teach people to lead alongside him. He doesn't have to do this on his own. He shouldn't do this on his own. There are skilled people in your midst, Moses. Use their wisdom and their gifts along with your own. The community is better because of them. And, this is important, allowing them to help will mean they also bear the burden with you. There are plenty of times in my life where I try to shoulder things on my own. I end up processing things in my own head, and I calculate exactly how much time and energy it will take me to do something without assistance from other people. But that is not God's desire for any of us. So as you read these chapters today, wonder with me, number 1, Who are your people? Who has been there in your life holding up your arms to lighten the load? Or to say honestly, at the rate you're going, you're going to wear yourself out. And then flip the script and ask, where can you be someone's person? It might be the same group or individual, or it could be totally different in each of those situations. But give them a call today to either say, thank you for being my person, or, hey, I'm here for you.